The blood on Cole Brennan's knuckles was still wet when the door swung open. The afternoon sun cut through the smoke and whiskey stench of Murphy's trading house, silhouetting the figure in the doorway. A woman with a Henry repeater slung low at her hip, 15 rounds chambered, barrel angled down but ready. The room went silent. 30 men frozen mid-drink, mid-car game, mid-breath. In the corner, old Samuel Marsh sat crumpled against the wall, face beaten to raw meat, one eye swollen shut, ribs showing through torn shirt fabric, blood pooling in the dirt beneath him. Cole turned from admiring his work, saw the woman, and smiled that same smile that had gotten 6 men killed in Abilene. Well now, he said, company. Nobody knew what would happen next, but everyone knew someone was about to die. 6 hours earlier, Emma Marsh had been fixing fence line on the North 40 when her father rode up on the old mare, moving slower than usual. She was 34, unmarried, strong from 2 decades of farm work, mending wire, birthing calves, hauling water when the well ran dry. Her hands were her father's hands, scarred, capable, honest. She turned down 4 marriage proposals because none of the men understood what the land meant, what it cost, what it was worth. Samuel Marsh was 79, weathered face carved by 50 prairie winters, hands thick with calluses from working 300 acres his grandfather had claimed in 1841. He moved like a man made of wire and leather, still tough but brittle in ways Emma noticed more each year. Need to go into town, he said. Emma looked up from the fence post. What for? Bank business. Pa, we talked about this. I know what we talked about. His voice was quiet, final, and I know what I'm doing. She watched him right away. That feeling in her gut she'd learned to trust. Something was wrong. I've been wrong for months. The loan, the crop failure, Cole Brennan tightening his grip on every farm in the county. Emma and her father ate breakfast together every morning at dawn. Same table her grandmother had used. Biscuits and coffee and whatever needed saying. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they didn't. The talking wasn't what mattered. It was the showing up, the being there. 50 years of that, since the day she was born in the room upstairs, delivered by her mother's hands while her father boiled water and paced and prayed. Her mother had died when Emma was 8. Fever. 3 days from healthy to cold. Her father had carried the body to the family plot himself, dug the grave in frozen ground, and then come back to cook Emma's supper because grief didn't change the fact that a child needed feeding. She was 12 when the Comanche raided. Her father had hidden her in the root cellar, told her to stay quiet no matter what, and gone out with a rifle. She'd heard the shots, the screams, the silence after. When he came back, bleeding from a gash across his ribs, he'd pulled her out, held her tight, and said, "You're safe." That's all that matters. She was 17 when her brother Jacob died. Thrown from a horse, broke his neck. Her father had held the funeral, read from the family Bible with hands that shook, and then the next morning went back to plowing because crops didn't care about grief. Because survival meant keeping going even when going felt impossible. That's what 300 acres of marshland meant. It wasn't dirt and wheat. It was every sacrifice. Every loss survived. Every morning her father chose to keep breathing and working and protecting what his father had protected and his father before that. 3 generations of refusal to break. Emma finished the fence and rode back to the house. Started supper even though she wasn't hungry. Waited for her father to come home. He didn't come home. At 11:30 that morning, Samuel Marsh had walked into Cole Brennan's office above the feed store with his hat in his hands and what was left of his dignity in his spine. The office was too fine for Red Creek. Walnut desk shipped from Kansas City. Persian rug on plank floors. Cole Brennan sat behind that desk like a king on a throne, 28 years old and handsome in a way that made men careless. Tailored vest, gold watch chain, smile that never reached his eyes. "Mr. Brennan," Samuel said, "I'm here about the loan." Cole didn't stand, didn't offer a chair, just looked at Samuel the way a man looks at dog shit on his boot. 3 months overdue, Samuel. 3. The hail took the wheat crop. You know that. Everyone knows it. I'm good for the money come spring. Spring. Cole laughed. Spring's 6 months away. You'll be dead by spring, old man. Heart will give out or you'll fall off a horse or something. Men your age, they just stop. Samuel's jaw tightened. Felt every one of his 79 years pressing down on him. I'm asking for an extension. 30 days. That's all I need. And I'm telling you no. Cole stood now, walked around the desk. Circled Samuel like a predator. But I'll make you a deal. Man to man. The way he said, man to man, made Samuel's stomach turn. You land one punch on me, Cole said, stopping in front of him. Just one. And you get a full month extension. No interest. No penalties. We'll call it entertainment. I'm not fighting you. Then you're losing the farm. Today, sheriff's got the foreclosure papers ready. I'll own your land by sundown. That 300 acres your granddaddy died protecting? Mine. That house your daughter lives in? Mine. Every fence post you ever planted, every acre you ever plowed, all mine. Samuel stood there feeling the weight of it. 3 generations. His daughter still working that land, still believing in it. Gone. Unless he could land one punch on a man 40 years younger. One punch, Samuel said quietly. Cole's smile widened. That's the spirit. Murphy's Trading House. Noon. Give the boys a show. The walk to Murphy's felt like walking to a gallows. Word spread fast in a town of 300. By the time Samuel pushed through the door at noon, 30 men lined the walls. Ranchers. Drifters. Cole's hired guns. Men who used to nod hello to Samuel at church, who used to ask his advice about planting schedules and weather patterns. Now, they just looked away. Cole Brennan had bought most of them the same way he'd bought the bank, the feed store, the sheriff, the judge. Money talks. Fear listens. Murphy's Trading House wasn't much. Dirt floor. Rough-cut bar. Tables made from barn with salvage from farms Cole had foreclosed. Smelled like old sweat and bad whiskey and the particular shame of men who'd given up fighting. The crowd parted. Cole stood in the center of the room, already rolling his shoulders loose. Already smiling. Rules are simple, Cole announced to the room. Old Sam lands one punch, just one, and he keeps his farm another month. He doesn't. I take everything he owns. That sound fair? Murmurs of agreement from men who knew damn well it wasn't fair, but were too afraid to say otherwise. Samuel raised his fists. Carpenter's hands. Farmer's hands. Good for holding a plow or driving fence posts. Not for fighting a man who'd killed 6 people in Abilene over a card game. Cole moved first. Not a punch, a shove. Two-handed, straight to Samuel's chest. The old man stumbled backward 3 steps. His boots scraped dirt. The crowd laughed. Nervous laughter. The kind that says, better him than me. Come on, Sam, Cole said. Hit me. That's the deal. Samuel stepped forward, swung his right hand. Slow. Telegraphed by 40 years. Cole ducked easy, casual, came up with a right cross that snapped Samuel's head sideways. Blood on his lips immediately. Copper taste. The room tilted. That the best you got, old man? Samuel swung again. Put everything into it. 50 years of farm work behind that punch. Cole slipped it like smoke, drove a fist into Samuel's ribs. Something cracked. Sharp pain. Wet pain. The old man gasped, doubled over. Cole grabbed his shirt front, held him upright. Wanted everyone to see. We're not done. Cole said loud enough for the whole room. You haven't landed your punch yet. Still got your chance. What followed wasn't a fight. It was systematic cruelty. Cole worked the body. Ribs. Gut. Kidneys. Precision shots that didn't show on the face, but did maximum damage inside. Making it last. Making it educational. Every man in that room learned the same lesson. This is what happens when you can't pay Cole Brennan. This is what defiance costs. Samuel tried. Swung for more times. Each one weaker. Each one missing by more. His vision blurred. Legs wouldn't hold. Blood in his mouth now. Something wrong in his chest. Breathing sharp. Wet. Broken. Cole caught him under the arms. Held him up like a puppet for the crowd to see. One more, Cole said, almost gentle. Give me one more try, Sam. For your farm. For Emma. One more punch, and you win. Samuel lifted his right hand. Barely a fist anymore. More like a wave goodbye. More like surrender. Cole waited, smiling, patient. Then stepped aside at the last second. Samuel's punch hit nothing but air. The momentum spilled him forward onto his knees. Hands in the dirt. Blood dripping. Cole's boot came down on Samuel's left hand. Ground down. Bones cracked like dry sticks. Samuel screamed. First sound he'd made beyond grunts. Hi. Broken. Animal. Oops, Cole said. Guess you won't be signing any bank drafts with that hand. He kicked Samuel in the ribs. Once. Twice. 3 times. 4. Methodical. Like kicking fence posts in a hard ground. Professional. Brutal. Educational. When Samuel finally collapsed face down, Cole dragged him by the collar to the corner, propped him against the wall like a broken doll. The old man's breathing was wrong. Wet rattling. Bubbling. Ribs weren't just broken, they'd punctured something. Cole walked to the bar, poured himself whiskey from the bottle Murphy kept for him, drank it slow while Samuel bled in the corner, and nobody moved. Nobody helped. Nobody looked. Anybody touches him before I leave, Cole announced, gets the same treatment. We clear. 30 heads nodded. Cole drained his glass, set it down gentle, examined his knuckles. Bruised but not broken. Professional work. He looked at Samuel one more time. Your farm's mine now, old man. I'll give Emma till Friday to clear out. That's generous, considering. Samuel couldn't respond. Could barely breathe. Each inhale was agony. Each exhale bubbled blood. That's when the door opened. Emma Marsh had been loading fence wire onto the wagon outside Garrett's Hardware when Billy Cotter rode up, 14 years old and breathless and terrified. Miss Emma, your pa, Murphy's, Cole Brennan. Emma didn't wait for complete sentences. Dropped the wire, ran home, grabbed the Henry repeater her father had carried at Pea Ridge during the war, loaded it with 15 rounds, checked the action twice, and rode hard for town. She'd known this was coming. Had seen Cole Brennan tightening his grip on Red Creek for 2 years, buying up land from desperate men, calling in debts during droughts, using hired guns to enforce collection. She told her father to let the farm go, to walk away. Pride wouldn't let him. Pride had gotten him beaten. She tied her horse outside Murphy's, heard the silence inside. Wrong kind of silence, heavy and guilty. Checked the Henry one more time. 15 rounds. Enough. Emma walked through the door. 30 men. Her father crumpled in the corner, face unrecognizable, blood pooling beneath him. Cole Brennan at the bar, admiring his knuckles. For 3 seconds, Emma couldn't breathe. Her father, her pa, the man who'd taught her to ride, to shoot, to mend fence. The man who'd held her after her mother died. Who'd protected her from Comanche raiders. Who'd never once raised his hand in anger except to defend what mattered. Broken in the dirt like trash. She felt something crack inside her chest. Something that had been holding her together her whole life. And underneath it, rage. Pure. Clean. Absolute. Emma leveled the Henry at Cole's chest. Step away from him. Cole turned. Raised his hands, still smiling. Emma Marsh. Didn't know you had teeth. Your daddy sure didn't. I said step away. Cole didn't move. Neither did anyone else. The room held its breath. Someone in the back shifted weight, and floorboards creaked loud as gunshots. You shoot me, Cole said calmly. These 30 men are witnesses. You'll hang. Sheriff Wade's on my payroll. Judge Morrison, too. You'll get a trial, fair and legal, and then you'll swing. That help your father? Emma's finger found the trigger. The Henry was lighter than it should be. Or maybe she was stronger than she'd been this morning. Stronger than she'd ever been. I'm counting to 3, Emma said. Her voice was flat, final, the voice of someone who'd already decided and was just explaining the decision. 1. This is Red Creek, girl. We got laws. We got order. 2. Cole's smile faded for the first time. He'd bought the sheriff, the judge, half the town. But he couldn't buy the look in Emma's eyes. He'd seen it before, during the war, in men who'd already made peace with dying and were just picking how they'd go. 3. Cole stepped sideways. Fast. Hands visible. All right. Take him. He's all yours. Emma moved to her father, rifle still on Cole. Knelt beside him. Pa, can you hear me? Samuel's good eye opened. Barely. Try to hit him. I know, Pa. I know you tried. The farm. Forget the farm. We're leaving. Can't. Emma, 3 generations, can't let him. She got her arm under his shoulders. Tried to lift him. He was all bone and blood and broken things. Made a sound that wasn't human when she moved him. Help me. Emma said to the room, to 30 men who'd watched her father get beaten. Somebody help me. Nobody moved. Emma looked at them, really looked, saw the fear, the shame, the relief that it wasn't them bleeding in the corner. And she understood. Cole Brennan had already won. Not just her father's farm. The whole town. Every soul in it. Fine, she said. I'll do it myself. She got Samuel upright. Half carried, half dragged him to the door. Took everything she had. The Henry swung awkward on its sling. Her father's blood soaked into her dress. Men parted to let them through, but didn't help. Didn't meet her eyes. At the door, Emma stopped. Turned. Looked at Cole Brennan, standing at the bar. Relaxed, confident, victorious. This isn't over, she said. Cole smiled. I think it is, sweetheart. No, Emma said. It's not. She got her father to Doc Morrison's surgery 2 doors down. Doc took one look, and his face went gray. Emma. Jesus. What happened? Cole Brennan happened. Help him. Doc cleared the table, got Samuel on it. Started cutting away the bloody shirt. Emma stood in the corner, Henry still in her hands, watching. Broken ribs, Doc muttered, probing gently. 4, maybe 5. Left hand's completely shattered. Looks like, Christ, looks like someone stepped on it deliberately. He listened to Samuel's breathing. Punctured lung. Probably internal bleeding. Emma, he needs a hospital. Kansas City, or he's staying here. Then he might die here. I can stabilize him, but he's staying here. Doc looked at her. Saw something in her face that made him stop arguing. All right, I'll do what I can. Emma watched Doc work. Bandaging. Splinting. Setting bones. Her father faded in and out of consciousness. When he was awake, he kept saying the same thing. The farm. Gotta save the farm. When Doc stepped away to wash his hands, Emma finally set the Henry down. Sat in the chair beside the table. Took her father's good hand in both of hers. And started remembering. She was 8. Her mother had just died. Her father came into her room that night. First time he cried in front of her. And said, it's just us now. But we're enough. You and me. We're enough. She was 12. Comanche Raiders. Her father had stood between her and 3 warriors with nothing but a rifle and the will to die before letting them touch his daughter. He'd killed 2. The 3rd had run. After, when Emma asked if he'd been scared, he said, terrified. But some things you do anyway. She was 17. Her brother's funeral. Her father had stood over the grave and said, God takes good men early because he's got work that needs doing in heaven. But he leaves harder men down here because the world needs them. I guess we're the harder ones. 34 years of moments like that. Of her father choosing to endure. To protect. To survive one more day because giving up wasn't his bones. And Cole Brennan had beaten him in 7 minutes. Emma stood. Walked to the window. Saw Murphy's trading house across the street. Lights burning inside. Saw men walking in and out. Laughing. Drinking. Moving on with their day like nothing had happened. Doc Morrison came up beside her. Emma, what are you thinking? I'm thinking, Emma said slowly, that some men need to stop breathing. Emma, he'll do this to someone else. Another farmer. Another family. He won't stop until somebody stops him. That somebody doesn't have to be you. Emma was quiet for a long time. Then, yes, it does. She went home. Fed the horses. Milked the cow. Did her father's evening chores and her own. Muscle memory. Survival routine. The things you do because doing them means you haven't given up yet. Then she went inside. Cleaned the Henry. Oiled every moving part. Loaded 15 rounds. Checked each one for defects, proper seating. Found her father's old gun belt. The .45 revolver, fully loaded. 6 rounds. Put on. The leather felt heavy. Foreign, right? She knew what she was about to do. Had known since she saw her father broken in the corner of Murphy's. There were only 2 ways this ended. Cole Brennan dead, or every decent person in Red Creek living in fear forever. But as she checked the Henry's action one more time, Emma thought about Baxter Springs. She'd been 19, just after the war ended. A drifter came through, quiet man, polite, helped her fix a wagon wheel. They talked while he worked. He'd mentioned fighting for the Union, Missouri campaigns. She'd asked which ones. Baxter Springs, he'd said, then gone quiet. She'd pressed him. He'd finally told her, massacre. Confederate guerrillas under Quantrill slaughtered 100 Union soldiers and civilians. Women, children. It wasn't a battle. It was butchery. I killed 17 men that day, the drifter had said. Maybe more. Lost count. Some were soldiers. Some weren't. I didn't care anymore. Just wanted them dead. All of them. He'd looked at his hands. Took me 5 years to stop seeing it. Their faces. Still dream about it sometimes. Still wonder if I'm going to hell for it. Emma had asked him why he'd told her. Because, he'd said, you look like someone who's thinking about killing. And I wanted you to know, it changes you. The first time, the 10th time, the 20th time, each one takes something, and you don't get it back. Then he'd left. She'd never learned his name. Emma looked at the Henry in her hands. 15 rounds. Thought about pulling the trigger. About watching Cole Brennan fall. About the satisfaction of it. The justice. About what it would cost. But then she thought about her father. About 3 generations of marshland. About every farmer in Red Creek living under Cole's boot. About mercy versus justice and which one mattered more. She didn't have an answer. She put on the gun belt anyway. The moon was up when Emma walked back into town. Murphy's trading house was still open. Still had a crowd. Still had Cole Brennan holding court like a king. Emma pushed through the door for the second time that day. The Henry was in her hands. The revolver on her hip. Her father's blood still stained her dress, dried brown now. The room went silent again. Deja vu, 30 men and no friends. Cole turned. Saw her. His smile came back. Twice in one day. I'm honored. Outside, Emma said. Now, why would I do that? Because if you don't, I'm going to shoot you right here, right now, and then shoot every man who reaches for a gun. Emma worked the Henry's lever. Chambered around. Loud in the silence. 15 rounds in the Henry. 6 in the revolver. 21 shots. I count 19 men standing. That's 2 bullets to spare. Cole's jaw tightened. For the first time, the smile didn't reach his eyes. You're making a mistake, girl. Probably. Let's find out. She backed toward the door. Cole followed. So did the crowd. They weren't missing this. Small-town entertainment. Blood sport. Emma walked into the street. Stopped 30 feet from Murphy's. Turned. Cole stood on the porch. 4 of his hired guns flanked him. Dutch Reynolds, Cutter Morgan, the Pike brothers. All 4 wore guns. All 4 had reputations. Change my mind, Cole called. Odds feel more fair this way. 5 against 1. Emma looked at them. 5 killers. Professionals. Men who'd fought in the war and kept fighting after because peace didn't suit them. Fair enough, she said. The street was empty except for them. Wind blew dust devils between the buildings. Somewhere a dog barked. The moon painted everything silver and black and the color of old blood. 5 men on the porch. 1 woman in the street. 20 spectators pressed against storefronts, wanting to watch, but not wanting to catch stray bullets. Your father begged, Cole said into the silence. Did you know that? Not with words, but I saw it in his eyes. He wanted mercy. I gave him a chance, 1 punch, and he couldn't even land it. What makes you think you're any different? I'm not looking for mercy, Emma said. And I'm not trying to land a punch. What are you doing then? Settling accounts. Cole's hand drifted toward his gun. You kill me, you'll hang. My men will testify. They'll say you murdered me in cold blood, that you provoked this, that we were defending ourselves. Maybe, but you'll still be dead. Is that enough for you? Dying just to take me with you. Emma thought about her father, about the farm, about every person in Red Creek who lived in fear. Thought about who she'd have to become to end this. Yeah, she said. It's enough. Dutch Reynolds drew first. Stupid. Overconfident. Thought his speed mattered. It didn't. Bang. Emma fired from the hip. The Henry kicked. Dutch's chest exploded. He staggered backward, hit the porch railing, went over. Dead before he hit the ground. 1 down. 4 remain. Cutter Morgan and both Pike brothers drew simultaneously. Emma was already moving. Dove left, rolled behind a water trough. 3 guns fired. Bullets punched holes in the trough. Water sprayed. Bang, bang, bang. Emma came up shooting. Worked the lever between shots. Smooth. Fast. The Henry sang. Cutter took 1 in the throat. Went down gurgling. 2 down. 3 remain. The older Pike brother, Tom, got a shot off that tugged Emma's sleeve. Close. Too close. She pivoted, fired twice. Bang! Bang! Tom Pike fell. His younger brother, couldn't have been more than 20, screamed and charged. Stupid. Grief makes men stupid. Bang! Young Pike stopped, looked down at the red bloom spreading across his shirt, looked up at Emma. Fell. For down. One remains. Cole Brennan had backed into Murphy's doorway during the shooting. Now he raised his hands. Wait, wait, Jesus Christ, just wait. Emma walked forward. The Henry's barrel tracked him. She worked the lever. Fresh, round-chambered. I got money, Cole said. His voice was different now. Higher. No smile. Lots of money. $10,000. 20. Name your price. You can have the farm, the bank, everything. I don't want your money. Then what do you want? Emma stopped 10 feet away. The Henry aimed at his chest. I want you to feel what my father felt. Powerless. Broken. Knowing you're about to lose everything and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean. Yes, you did. Bang. The bullet took Cole in the right shoulder. Spun him sideways. His gun fell from nerveless fingers. He clutched the wound, staggered, fell to his knees in the doorway. Emma closed the distance. Stood over him. Please, Cole said. Blood pumped between his fingers. Please don't. I can leave. I'll leave Red Creek tonight. You'll never see me again. You're right, Emma said. I won't. She pressed the Henry's barrel against his forehead. Emma's finger tightened on the trigger. One more pound of pressure. That's all it would take. One bullet. 1 second. Cole Brennan's cruelty ended forever. Justice. She could feel it. The weight of it. The rightness. This man had beaten her father nearly to death. Had stolen from dozens of families. Had ruled through fear for 2 years. He deserved this. Earned it. Nobody could argue otherwise. Her finger tightened, but then she thought about the drifter from Baxter Springs. About 17 men killed. About 5 years trying to stop seeing their faces. About going to hell for doing the right thing. She thought about her father. About what he taught her. About the difference between justice and revenge and whether it mattered. She thought about who she'd be after pulling this trigger. Whether she'd still be Emma Marsh or just another killer in a territory full of them. Emma. Doc Morrison's voice from the street. Quiet. Careful. Emma, don't. She didn't take her eyes off Cole. Didn't move the barrel. Why not? Because your father's alive. Because you're not a killer. Because this, Doc gestured at the 4 bodies in the street. This is already more than enough. It's not justice. Maybe not. But it's mercy. And mercy's harder than killing. Takes more strength. Your father would tell you the same thing. Emma stood there with a rifle pressed to Cole Brennan's forehead and a choice pressing down on her soul. Pull the trigger. Justice, satisfaction. One less monster in the world. Lower the rifle. Mercy, uncertainty, the hardest thing she'd ever done. She chose. Emma lowered the Henry. Step back. You're leaving Red Creek, she told Cole. Tonight. Right now. You take your money and you go. Kansas. Colorado. Mexico. I don't care. But you leave. And if you ever come back, if I ever hear you're within 100 miles of Red Creek, I finish this. We clear. Cole nodded. Couldn't speak. Just nodded and clutched his shoulder and looked at her like she was the devil himself. Good. Emma turned to the crowd. Somebody get him bandaged and on a horse. He's got an hour. She walked back to Doc Morrison's. Ignored the bodies in the street. Ignored the people staring. Ignored the whispers starting behind her. Her father was awake when she came in. Propped up on pillows. Breathing shallow but steady. He whispered. What happened? It's over, Pa. Did you? Did I kill him? No. Samuel's good hand found hers. Squeezed. Good. You're better than that. I wanted to. I really wanted to. I know. But you didn't. That's what counts. He coughed. Winced. Good men aren't people who never want to do bad things. Good men are people who want to and stop themselves anyway. Emma sat beside him, held his hand, felt herself shaking, adrenaline draining, reality setting in. For men dead in the street. Cole Brennan alive because she'd chosen mercy over justice. Did I do the right thing? She asked. Don't know, Samuel said. But you did the hard thing. And the hard thing's usually the right thing. Outside, she heard a horse leaving at a gallop. Cole Brennan running, bleeding, alive. Emma closed her eyes. 3 weeks later, Samuel Marsh died. Not from a beating. Doc Morrison said the ribs were healing. The lung was stable. His heart just stopped. Gave out one morning, gentle and final. Emma found him in bed, looking peaceful for the first time in months. Like he'd been waiting to make sure she was safe before he let go. The funeral was small. 50 people came, more than Emma expected. The same 30 from Murphy's, plus 20 more from outlying farms. They stood around the grave with guilt written on their faces, and Emma hated them for it. For coming now when it didn't matter. For bringing flowers when they should have brought fists 3 weeks ago. But she let them stay, because her father would have wanted it. Sheriff Wade came by after. Stood at a respectful distance, hat in his hands. "Miss Emma, just wanted to say things are changing. In Red Creek." "How's that?" "Cole's gone. The bank got new owners, Silverton family from Kansas City. Good people. They're forgiving some debts. Giving extensions. Being fair. Took 4 bodies and a near beating to death to make things fair," Emma said. Wade looked at his boots. "Yeah, it did. And I should have stopped it sooner. Should have stood up. I didn't. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't bring my father back." "No, ma'am. It doesn't." Wade put his hat on. Started to leave. Stopped. "For what it's worth, what you did took courage. More than the rest of us had." He left. Emma stood at her father's grave until sunset, thinking about courage, about mercy, about whether she'd made the right choice or just the hardest one. Over the next months, Red Creek transformed slowly. The new bank returned 19 foreclosed properties to families who could work them. Sheriff Wade found a spine somewhere and started enforcing laws fairly instead of selectively. The fear that had gripped the town for 2 years loosened its hold. Emma heard through traveling merchants that Cole Brennan had set up in Tucson. Same schemes, same cruelty, different town. She thought about riding down there, finishing what she'd started. But she didn't. That wasn't her job, wasn't her burden. She had 300 acres to maintain, a farm to protect, a legacy to honor. People left her mostly alone, respected her, feared her a little. When disputes needed settling, they sometimes asked her opinion. She gave it straight and simple, the way her father had taught her. Didn't pull punches, didn't sugarcoat, just truth, fair she could manage. But at night, on the porch, with the Henry across her lap and her father's chair empty beside her, Emma wondered if she'd pulled the trigger. If Cole Brennan had died in the dirt outside Murphy's, would her father be alive? Would Tucson be safer? Would she be different? No way to know. Mercy meant living with questions. Justice meant living with answers. She'd chosen mercy. Now she had to live with it. The prairie stretched out forever in the moonlight. Dark, empty, full of possibility and threat in equal measure. 300 acres of marshland, bought with blood and sweat and sacrifice going back 3 generations. Hers now, her burden, her inheritance. She'd protect it, same as her father, same as his father, for as long as she could stand and breathe and pull a trigger if necessary. Maybe that was enough. Maybe that was all anyone could do. Stand your ground. Protect what matters. Show mercy when you can. And when you can't, when the choice comes and it's yours alone, make it and live with it and keep going. Because that's what the prairie taught you. That's what survival meant. Not winning, not losing, just enduring. One day, one choice, one sunset at a time. Emma Marsh sat on that porch every evening for the rest of her life. Henry rifle on her lap, eyes on horizon, waiting for whatever came next. Some nights, she dreamed about pulling the trigger, about Cole Brennan's blood in the dirt, about justice served clean and final. Other nights, she dreamed about mercy, about her father's hand in hers, about choosing the hard thing because it was right even when right felt wrong. She never knew which dream was true. Maybe both. Maybe neither. Maybe the answer didn't matter as much as the question. So what do you think? Was Emma right to spare Cole Brennan? Or should she have finished it when she had the chance? Justice or mercy? Which one protects more people in the long run? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments. No wrong answers, just different weights on the same scales. And if this story hit you somewhere deep, if it made you think about hard choices and what it costs to make them, Subscribe for more tales from the untamed frontier where right and wrong weren't always clear and survival meant more than just staying alive. Thanks for watching. See you on the next trail.